Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Lord Bounty, and this is my Warlock build guide. So the build is all about cursing as your offense and also your defense. Side note, this is hardcore viable and it also works in Empowered Monolith. I died recently, but that's a player mistake, not the build. And also the build is a rough draft. So I just wanted to give out a skeleton blueprint of it in case you want to play it, and then you could optimize it. We're going to go over the skills and then the mastery, and then show you gameplay, and then go over the gear. So Orthotic Fissure, it has the curse tag, which allows us to curse our enemies when we throw out the fissure, and what actually curses the enemies is the spirits that come out the fissure. Now the spirit and the fissure itself does damage, as it reads here: torment, a curse that slows and deals necrotic damage over time. So when the spirits are coming out, they're doing damage, and if enemies are in the fissure, it does damage. So the best way to use this skill for rares or bosses is to make sure they're in the fissure. That way they're taking damage from all the sources. And the nodes that we picked up: Fragile Curse, because all around this build is heavy on taking mana, so anything that reduces the mana cost of our skills, that's what we want. So you got mana cost reduced by 12, and then if you're cursed, or say you're playing a party, if they're cursed, or rare enemy or boss cursed, within the 20 meters when you cast this spell, you get refunded 80% of the cost. Now to increase the damage, we went for Eradication node, which if an enemy is cursed or if you're cursed, you do double damage. Base is 24%, double will be 48%. And then for sustain, we have health leech at 2%. That might seem low, but trust me, when we go over the mastery and also the gear, it all adds up. We're a very tanky build on my ad. And then torment, this is just a node that we have to go through, but what it does is this: when something dies while it has torment on, it spreads it. So it's at 25%. I just got an extra point, so now it's at 50%. Here, this reduces the enemy's necrotic resistance, so it just ups our damage. And then we go into the spirit frequency. Now the higher this is, the better, because that means more spirits are coming out the fissure and we're doing more damage, and then we're also healing a whole bunch more. You can get an increase in frequency through gear, and that's what I've been working towards. Well, not anymore, because since my character died in hardcore, I started a new character. I can't play a character once they died. I enjoy the hardcore aspect of action RPGs. But now I'm going to cover Spirit Plague. Spirit Plague, you're going to be using it for the trash mobs along with the Chronothon Fissure. Chronothon Fissure and Ghost Flame is your main two skills that you're going to be using for rares and bosses. But Spirit Plague is mostly just for trash mobs, and we just reduce the cost, increase the duration. We get poison because damage over time is something that we're scaling, and also we're scaling just the spell damage because each of these skills have the spell tag, and we're also scaling necrotic. So it's damage over time, necrotic, and spell. So here we increase the global damage over time. We get this node, which is Plague Barrier, which this does is once something has this mod on it, it's taking poison damage over time. It doesn't stack, so you only get one stack of that. But we increase its potency by penetrating the resistance, which will be poison, so that lowers their resistance. And then we increase our poison damage by the maximum stacks of 13. This works better with the trash mobs, not for rare bosses. That's why we use the skill to get rid of trash mobs, and we just toss this on a boss or a rare when we get the chance, because you're only able to do 4 to 5 stacks if you sit there and spam it. Even if you move and cast it at the same time, you could only get 4 to 5. So sitting there is the best way, but you still can't get to 13. You can only get to 13 by casting it on a group of mobs. And then for the last node, we just get police stacks just to add more damage over time. Now Ghost Flame. So the first node you want to go for is Spectral Menace, but let's go over how Ghost Flame works. So it's a channel skill. You're not allowed to regain mana while you're channeling, so that's why we want a high mono regen, but also high mono pool. The reason why I say high mono regen is because once you stop channeling Ghost Flame, you want that mana regen to go to skyrocket. Basically, you want the mana to replenish back as fast as possible to your maximum mana, so that way you could always cast at maximum mana capacity. But the nodes that makes this work so well is Spectral Menace. It reduces our channel cost by 70% and gives us ward while we're channeling. Next, you're going to want to get Enfeebled Prey because you get leech on anything that's cursed, and also you take negative 20% damage when something is cursed. We're always cursing. There's nothing that's never cursed, so you're always taking 20% damage once you're using the skill. And then from here we go from Dread Furnace into Disdain because we do damage taken while channeling negative 40%. So you add that two together, that's 60%. It's a lot less damage taken, and that's not including our mastery skill tree. And then from here we go through this node into Decrepit Mortals because this gives us this curse tag on Ghost Flame. Ghost Flame itself is not naturally a curse. You have to get this node to turn into a curse. And the curse part of this node is after 1.5 seconds, the Screech will be let out, and that's your curse. Now what it does is Decrepifies a curse which deals 200 physical damage over 10 seconds with added damage applying at 100% effectiveness per second. So yet again another damage over time source. Bone Curse. This is the curse we use only for rares and bosses. The three important nodes are Sigil of Mortality, Oppressive Gaze, and Brittle Bones. Now, Sigil of Mortality gives us the mod Mark for Death, and what that does is reduces all resistances by 25%, which is really good because we're doing Ignite, we're doing Poison, we're doing Bleed, so we're doing all the ailments. And then we're also doing necrotic damage. Boom. That just increases the damage by a lot. And then Impressive Gaze, it's only one single target, but a limited duration. That means you cast it once, don't need to think about it. And Mark of Death stays on there, as well as Crippling Anguish, but you get this later, but as well as Brittle Bones. And what Brittle Bones does is a kill threshold. So that means at 12% of the enemy's life, you don't need to worry about. The game got you covered. So that's just very nice to have. And then for your movement skill is your Transplant. Most important is Accolade Favor because of the haste. And then after that, you're going to want to go Bone Armor. This increases your armor, so that's increase the amount of damage you could take. And then you do less damage taken as well by 12% when you cast this, but that's only for a short duration. So then you get Planet Armor to increase the armor, and then to increase the duration, you get Apostasy. And those are the skills. Now for the actual mastery. Accolades is basic Blood Ore to Blood Pack. This increase our damage. And then Forbidden Knowledge for the intelligence and necrotic resistance. And then Warlock. Important nodes if you're playing hardcore, Spiteful Decay because you want the health. And then it also gives us increased damage over time. And then from here we went to Occultist Mind, which increases our intelligence, but we get more mana per intelligence. That's very important. And then Harrowing Armor because we want more survivability, so we get armor and health. And then we get 1 point in Dark Protections because it doesn't increase the damage. It doesn't increase the less damage that we take. What it does increase is the ward per second, but we're not stacking ward. Anyhow, we get less damage taken per curse on target by 2%. That is really good, but the thing is, I don't know what it means by per unique curse. So I don't know if that's all the curses that we do or very specific ones. So the amount of 2% less damage, I'm not sure if that's increased to 6% or 8%. I don't know where the percentage stops. I know at least we're getting at least 2% because one of our curses has to be unique. But if you know what makes the curse unique, let me know in the comments below. Okay, Withering is you take less damage from for any target that has Wither on it, which is 8%. Now, each stack of Withering increases damage taken from curses by 10%, and lasts 3 seconds and can stack up to 20 times. Oh, It's each cycle really increases the damage taken from curses. Oh, so it does both. Look at that. It increases the damage we do, and then we get less damage taken from things that are withered. Like, so that's really good. So like I said, we're using curses as damaging and defense. So you definitely want that. And what procs this is Cathartic Fissure, not Ghost Flame. And then we get the, oh, I almost forgot about this node. Spirit Leech, yet again, we're leeching health. And then yet again, we're also leeching health against cursed enemies. So right there, that's 3% health leech, including the skills themselves, and then not yet adding our armor, our gear. So there's a lot of leech happening. And then Roaching Darkness, this is for mobs. So Anguish is a curse that lasts for 10 seconds and causes the target to deal 15 less damage over time and deals necrotic damage to all enemies. So you're doing damage and you're taking less damage from damage over time. And I already went over this, but Vitality Intelligence for health, resistance, and also mana. And then this increased damage over time. This was extra, so this is more damage, so scan more damage. And then Lich. So we get Survival of the Cruel, yet again, health, spell damage leech has health. And then also Intelligence and increased mana regen. And then Desolation for increased damage over time. Alright, now we're going to go over gameplay. And then this is in Power Monolith, as you can see, 100% corruption. We're gonna be taking damage, right? Oh no, boom, Ghost Flame. Look at that. We just tanked all that damage. It was close to death. Bam. That's why you want a big monopool, so that way you could cast Ghost Flame as long as possible. As you can see, things die pretty fast. And you don't really need to worry. The way I died was very silly. I died from poison over time. My potion gives me ward. Look at that. Look at that. Look at the ward I just gave myself through my potions. So how it all happened was I saw that my life was going down. I used all my potions, and since it was already attacking my health, it didn't switch the damage to the ward. So that's how I ended up dying. I panicked, and there was no mobs around me, so I couldn't leech health back. So that's how I died. But as you can see, it's very viable. I'm taking and doing damage. Like I said in the beginning of the video, anything that's cursed is taking damage and also reducing damage. And the skill itself is what really makes this possible. I mean, we're taking 60% reduced damage just by casting Ghost Flame. And Ghost Flame then curses, so it's even more than 60%. Well, that was a weird interaction. And here's the big boss. As you can see, the boss barely hurts us. Well, this one, there's two bosses here. And then say you don't like how things are going, you could just, oh look, I'm floating. You could just get out by using the transplant, because it cancels the animation. You see, canceling the animation. But as you can tell, the boss is dying. We could walk and look how much damage the boss is taking. We're not even on casting Ghost Flame. But once we cast Ghost Flame, it goes even faster. And there you go. Now we're going to be going over the gear. Okay, the gear. So the most important part is Warm Flesh. The reason why is the 25 increased damage leeches health. The 38 increased leech rate. The rate means that the damage that we deal just recovers faster. And 100% critical strike avoidance. The way it works is gives a chance to downgrade enemy's crit onto you to a regular hit. It's no longer a chance because it's at 100%. So that means it's guaranteed to become a regular hit. You get this unique by killing Abomination in the first monolith once you reach endgame. And you could kill him a few times. If you get lucky, you might get it the first time. Or if you get unlucky, you might get it the sixth time. All depends on Lady Luck for you. Alright, the next important unique is the gloves. Now, what it does is increase the duration of elements you inflict. That is the tag increased time rot duration. That's what that does. And then you go to the bottom, it says 21% penetration against all resistances for damage over time. So that's increasing all the damage we do over time even more. As you can tell, there's a lot of synergy happening with the skills, our mastery, and our gear. And then the last but most important piece, oh, let me show you where you get the gloves from. You get it from the Black Stun boss. Same thing, first try, or maybe the 100th try. So it all depends on Lady Luck for you. Now the wand, lucky enough, you don't need to farm any boss. I'm not sure what boss it comes from, because the way I got it was through crafting, and I used the glyph. The one that makes any base type turn into the same base type but a unique. So I just got 6 wands, and then I used 6, and I can show you in my chest after we go over the damage of the wand that I have 2 more in my stash. So the damage with the wand, 43,000 for Ghost Flame, 7,000 for Crown Fissure, and then Spirit Plague 4,000. Without it, we're doing a lot less. So you can see our damage is increased by a shit ton with the wand. Now, for the scepters, the reason I'm bringing this up is because I just want you to know, for regular monolith, you don't need this unique. If you could get it during regular monolith, you're going to be destroying that content very easily, but you don't need it. The damage doesn't go up by a lot with these scepters, and with the exalted one, it's a really small bump in damage. But these are also viable, and all you need is the increased damage over time, and you're looking for the increased spell damage and increased damage over time as well. But we didn't go over the wand. I apologize for that. 22 flat spell necrotic damage, 148 increase in spell damage, and then 20% necrotic penetration with % per stack of dam on you. And dam is not a big deal. Dam is just necrotic damage over time. We leech a lot of the damage that we do, so it kind of null and voids that. But if you get it up to 7 stacks by just casting, because it says you are damned when you cast a spell, so if you stop and cast, we'll say Spirit Plague 7 times, bam, you stacked it up, and you get it to what's 140% increased necrotic penetration, which is insane. And I think penetration, what it does is I'm not sure if it's the same thing as lowering resistance, but it goes through the resistance. I know that. So you're doing 140% going through the resistance. Now I'm not sure what that calculates into just damage, but it's a lot. And then you are and then the only downside is this, also the 10% reduced health. But I'll just go over the gear, this health and resistance, and then anything that does damage over time, necrotic damage, spell damage, necrotic damage, or damage over time is what you're looking for, and spell damage. Now this is unique. I was just trying it out. I'm not too sure how much this helps the damage of my gear. If you could tell, it's at 4,000. I take this out. It's only, see, there wasn't a big bump. So I'm not really sure if this unique is worth it. But like I said, this was just a rough draft. So you could improve on it if you choose to play this build. But anyhow, we'll go over the items. This is damage over time, but everything else is health. There's a lot of room for improvement for this build, but that is the build. And before we go, I'll show you the wands. So these were my 6 wands. So 3 here, 2, 3, in total 6. First 3 was this. The last 3 was this wand. So Lady Luck was definitely on my side, and hopefully she's on your side. That's the video. Hope you enjoyed. I'll appreciate a like. It lets me know that you're enjoying the content. I can make more. And consider subscribing. Catch you in the next one.